What are you? A stalker or something? You disgust me. Go home already. I came to the wedding to celebrate the happily smiling bride and groom. Then, to my surprise, the groom turned out to be my ex-husband, Alec. I'm definitely not his stalker. Do you like me that much? If so, you should have come out in the open, and I might have considered you as an affair partner. Trying to crash my wedding is just too disappointing. All my past anger and the shock of suddenly encountering Alec just vanished. As Alec wished, I decided to leave. However, 30 minutes later, I ended up returning to the venue with someone. I wonder if Alec would be pleased with the surprise guest. It's going to be more interesting than any entertainment. I'm Melissa, 36 years old. I met my husband Stuart 10 years ago. At the nursing home where my grandmother was staying, I blurted out big when I first met Stuart, a caregiver there. He's close to 6.5 feet tall, big both vertically and horizontally. As I covered my mouth with my hand, feeling I had said too much, he smiled shyly. Big, right? Everyone calls me a bear. Gradually, I got closer to Stuart. Despite his appearance resembling a wild man-eating bear, his personality was like a cute bear sunbathing at a bear park. Kind, gentle, and comforting to be around. I never dreamed of marriage and had decided to stay single, but my stubborn heart was softened, and I ended up marrying. Now, blessed with our 4-year-old son Leon, I deeply feel it was the right thing to do. The reason I avoided marriage was because I had failed at it once. I got married for the first time at 22. To a man who was the opposite of Stuart, modern, slender, fresh-faced, and handsome. His well-featured face could make anyone believe he was a celebrity. In fact, my ex-husband Alec would often lie to people he just met. I used to model in Boston. Our married life was in my hometown, where it was quite rural. Not a farmland rural, but a place where everyone needs a car. Yet supermarkets and hospitals are only a 10-minute drive away, and if you drive 30 minutes more, you'll find a large shopping mall as well. I think it's a nice countryside. And as for Alec, he came from the city. He attended a nearby university and stayed in the area after graduation. At first, our marriage life was enjoyable. Alec got along with my friends, often suggesting we call someone to hang out. Being young, we would gather with friends, drink, and have fun. Alec was quick to fit in with a female-dominated environment. I thought he wanted to cherish everything about me, including my friendships. He loved me that much. I truly believed so. This is hard to say, but it was a few months into our marriage. A friend approached me seriously. Alec has asked me out multiple times to hang out just the two of us without telling you. It wasn't an invitation to play tag or pretend. My head was immediately filled with indecent thoughts. And it wasn't just her. Alec had approached almost all of my friends. I felt betrayed by Alec and sorry for my friends. I confronted Alec immediately. I'm just saying that to be sociable. It makes women happy. Alec carelessly patted my head as I turned red with anger. Well, some simple women might misunderstand kindness from a handsome guy like me. Luckily, none of my friends betrayed me to go along with Alec's invitations. Everything was attempted but not fulfilled, and my friends forgave him with awkward smiles. After that, Alec's interactions with my friends ceased. Alec was also close with my parents. Once a month, he would visit my parents' home and drink with my father. With no more plans with my friends, visits to my parents increased. Got some booze for today. Alec and my father, both fond of alcohol, got along well, and home visits would turn into daytime drinking sessions. Alec would bring selected drinks as gifts, pleasing my father. My mother, Reagan, would prepare appetizers, and we spent lively times as a family. Alec, comfortable and natural with my in-laws, was well liked by them. But gradually, my parents started to act differently. One time, as I was about to go to the bathroom, my mom stopped me and whispered secretly, "We'd appreciate it if you could reduce the frequency of your visits. You know, we're getting older, and it's becoming difficult for us." She was vague, but it seemed she had more to say. "The alcohol Alec brought today is hard to come by, you know. I heard it costs $500. "What? It's not that expensive?" My mother clammed up. Then, she revealed something I hadn't expected. "He's been asking us to pay for it." "What?" "It's nice having Alec over and the alcohol is good. But, honestly, it's a burden to pay for expensive alcohol every time." Initially, the cost for the alcohol was around $20. "Could I get the money for the alcohol?" He would say so nonchalantly, and my mother happily paid. But gradually, the price increased, and it became normal for it to exceed $300. However, the actual cost of the alcohol was at most $50, and above all, it was purchased with our living expenses. $500 is just too much. But we can't spoil Alec's feelings, right? Indeed, my parents had repeatedly said that gifts were unnecessary, without me realizing the underlying sentiment. I thought I was doing filial piety by visiting frequently with Alec. I immediately confronted Alec, who looked happily flushed, about asking for money. Maybe because he was drunk, he responded nonchalantly. "What's the big deal? If you go to a club, you pay a lot of money, right? I'm bringing alcohol and drinking it with them, so I should get paid, or it's a loss." He didn't care about my anger at all, almost as if he expected gratitude. Turning towards my beet-red face, he laughed. "Hey, Melissa turned into an octopus. Reagan, make some octopus appetizers." I was so dumbfounded by the absurdity of it all that I lost my words. I just exchanged looks with my parents, who had twisted expressions. Alec seemed to like my family home. Unlimited drinks, a mother who worked like a maid, and he even receives pocket money. But I couldn't bring Alec home anymore. "Ah, so boring. I'm nice to you and this is how you treat me." After that, Alec stopped coming to the house and started going out alone. On top of not giving me any money for living expenses, he had secretly incurred debts. And when infidelity came to light and I confronted him, he suddenly hit me. "Shut up. I don't need you anymore. It's over, we're getting divorced." And that's how we ended up divorcing. A bitter memory I don't want to even remember. I had forgotten about him, blessed with a new family, but 13 years after the divorce, for some reason, Alec was here. And next to a bride in a pure white dress. Alec was the groom. It was a wedding I was invited to by my junior at work, Chanel. The guest list exceeded 300 people, a grand ceremony. Alec in his late 30s had changed his vibe, but there was no way I would mistake him for someone else. The radiant beauty of his youth was gone, replaced by the air of a sweet, calm gentleman. He was spreading his best smile all over the reception. I had dressed up nicely but tried to make myself less noticeable by slouching a bit. My mind was full of why and how. Maybe my suspicious behavior made me stand out more, as I locked eyes with him. I smiled awkwardly and nodded slightly while sweating. Oh my God, how awkward. I felt so uncomfortable that I went to the bathroom. The reception had just started. I spent some time there, but I couldn't stay hidden for another 2 hours. Reluctantly, as I was about to return, Alec, with his arms crossed, was blocking the way in front of the venue. "What are you doing here?" I wanted to ask the same. When we divorced, Alec had scornfully said he hated country folk and moved to the city. I didn't know he had come back to my hometown. Alec leaned in with the same unpleasant smile as before. "What's the matter? You still hung up on me after all these years?" He seemed gentlemanly earlier, but it must have been just the outfit and the setting. Alec was still laughing vulgarly. "Wow, you've got wrinkles. You've aged. You were cute when you were younger, but marrying for looks was a mistake. Good thing I divorced you back then." Alec pointed at the faint laugh lines I was self-conscious about and laughed all by himself. I've always felt he was a bit immature, but now it's just creepy, like he's still a little kid. "Oh, wait a minute, what was your name again?" Oh, Averill? Betty? Let's see, oh yeah, Melissa. Look, just give up on me already. As you can see, I'm married. I've already. I started to say, but Alec wasn't listening to me. Can't believe you were able to stalk me with that face of yours. Don't you own a mirror? Or are your eyes rotten? Oh, maybe it's presbyopia? Let's make things clear, with your looks, there's no way you and I could start over. Ah, I didn't want to see you. In my memories, you were still cute. Don't tarnish my memories. Alec stuck out his tongue in jest. Our past is already tainted. I only remember fighting with Alec, and if it's possible, I'd remove those memories from my brain. I wasn't prepared to encounter Alec like this today. I wanted to say something back, but my mind went blank, and no words came out. I clenched my fist tightly and looked away from him. Ah, your face is all red. Oh right, Melissa, you always used to get so mad and turn red. It was cute when you were younger, but a red-faced angry old woman is just ugly. My face felt even hotter. I looked away, but Alec kept peering into my face. You shouldn't choose a marriage partner based on looks. After all, looks fade. Sorry, Melissa, for leaving you when looks were all you had. This time, I'm going to be happy. I chose my partner not just for her looks, but for what's inside. What's inside? I couldn't help but ask back. Yeah, the inside. You must have been able to sneak in because there are so many people, but don't you see that you don't belong here at a wedding? Get lost already. He gestured as if he was shooing a dog away. But Again, Alec didn't listen to my words. Stop it. If you keep disrupting the wedding, I'll call the police. What you're doing is called stalking. But, do you like me that much? If so, you should have come out in the open, and I might have considered you as an affair partner. Trying to crash my wedding is just too disappointing. Alec was loquacious, not giving me a chance to interject. He's always been talkative, but now he seemed overly excited. Breathing roughly, he finished speaking to me. What are you? A stalker or something? You disgust me. Go home already. I came here to celebrate the happily grinning bride and groom. I'm certainly not Alec's stalker. But I didn't feel like clearing up Alec's misunderstanding. Fine, I'll leave. Past anger and the confusion of suddenly encountering Alec just disappeared, and I answered emotionlessly. I had my bag with me, so I decided to leave without returning to the reception. I turned my back and Alec waved at me. Bye-bye. I turned around and asked one last question. You chose her for what's inside? Alec smirked nastily and nodded deeply. Yeah. She's really the best. There's no way you could compete. Is that so? Hearing just that, I walked away from Alec. The wedding venue was on a small hill. Surrounded by the clear sky and the sea, it was a beautiful location with no buildings around. However, it's hard to return to town without a car. I had planned to call Stuart for a pickup in a few hours, so I explained the situation to him. While waiting for Stuart, I sat on a bench outside the venue, quietly looking at the sky. Stuart was with Leon in a nearby park, so it would take some time for him to arrive. I had woken up early today, got ready, and even had my hair done at the salon. Alec laughed at me for looking older, but my son, Leon, told me I looked cute. I was so upset over the treatment Alec had given me, after putting so much effort into looking nice. 30 minutes had passed since I left the venue. I thought it was Stuart calling when my mobile phone rang, but the screen strangely showed Alec. My finger froze as I was about to press the call button. I hadn't been in contact with him at all since the divorce, so I hadn't even thought about his name still being in my phone book. I definitely didn't want to deal with Alec, so I decided to ignore the call. But the phone kept ringing. After about 3 rings, it stopped, only to start ringing again without a pause. What's this? Does he still have something to complain about? In no time, the missed calls had piled up to dozens. At this point, it's hard to tell who the stalker is. Checking my call history, I realized a colleague from work had also called. Interrupted by Alex's incessant ringing, it was resulting in a missed call notification. While fiddling with my phone, scared of accidentally making a call, I noticed a message from my colleague amidst the missed calls and managed to check it. The candle service. It seems the bride, Chanel, is upset because of my absence. The candle service was one of Chanel's special requests. She had tried to gather all the guests who had stepped out for a toilet break or a smoke, causing a small commotion when I didn't return. I had messaged my colleague that I had to leave due to an emergency, but I could imagine Chanel wouldn't be satisfied with that explanation. The voicemail Alec left was, "I thought you were stalking me. If you were really a guest, you could have just said so. I'm not mad, so just come back already. It'd be a waste not to eat the cake." The condescending tone of his hurried message made me even less inclined to return. What a hassle. With hundreds of people there, it wouldn't matter if I was missing. I vented my true feelings, thinking no one was around. Then, a car pulled into the parking lot. To my surprise, a woman in a pure white dress got out of the driver's seat. She looked exactly like a bride. Normally, brides get ready at the venue, so this was clearly unusual. I couldn't help but stare at her. Noticing my gaze, the woman gave me a kind smile. "Thank you for attending our wedding today." What? Misunderstanding, I forced a smile and explained. "Oh, I'm a colleague of the bride currently at the reception. Are you about to have your ceremony?" Lovely dress. Thank you. I've been looking forward to this day. Congratulations. Despite the pleasant atmosphere, I felt a sense of unease. I remembered Chanel bragging various things about the wedding. How she requested the highest quality catering, a dress by a famous designer. Her bragging wouldn't end and our break times were completely consumed by those topics. And one of them was the exclusive booking of the wedding venue. Normally, up to 6 couples could hold their ceremonies in a day. However, Chanel insisted on having her special day all to herself. I wondered if the woman had gotten the date wrong. The happily-looking woman confided a secret, saying, "Actually." Hearing this, I headed back to the venue I had just been kicked out of. It seemed like it would be more entertaining than any special performance. At the entrance of the banquet hall, Alec and Chanel were having an argument. Noticing me, Alec hurried over. "I've been waiting for you forever." Chanel, having been informed by Alec, glared at me. "So you know Alec? I heard you used to like him and followed him around. Saying you can't celebrate the marriage of someone you used to like and leaving? That's something middle or high schoolers would do. How inconsiderate." "Chanel, it was Alec who told me to leave. Don't be annoying. Can you not call my husband by his first name?" Alec avoided my gaze as soon as I looked at him. As if a casual lie could cover the truth. Right, I should have been more considerate. After all, Alec and I divorced over 10 years ago. "Excuse me? What did you say?" Chanel tilted her head in confusion. Obviously, Alec hadn't shared any inconvenient truths with her. Alec tried to silence me, but I spoke up anyway. "What do you mean?" "Alec and I were married." Chanel's eyes widened in shock. Alec, sensing danger, shrank back like a scared kitten. "What? You used to be married? I didn't know about this. Unbelievable." Before the wedding, Chanel often spoke about her ideal partner. "Someone with fair skin, a model-like face, who would grant all my wishes like a prince. And of course, he has to be utterly devoted to me." A wish list that seemed pulled straight from a fairy tale. I had heard she had dated twice in the past, but she broke up with them because they merely glanced at another girl, screaming betrayal at the slightest provocation. She would never accept a history of divorce. Then Chanel, giddy with the notion of having found her Prince Charming, had married Alec after a brief courtship. It was Chanel's mistake for not looking into him more, despite her usual insistence on details. Alec hurried to cover up. Chanel, it's not what you think. I did marry her, but it was a youthful mistake. A folly of youth, you know? And to prove it, we split up after about a year. He tried to put his arm around Chanel's shoulder, only to be shrugged off. I had pretty much forgotten she existed, and now I'm all about you, Chanel. It's actually her who's been bothering me. She kept staring at me during the ceremony, and it was really creepy. Come on, Chanel, Melissa is the annoying one. You know I wouldn't be interested in someone like her. Trust me. Chanel's lips were clenched so tightly that they bled. She seemed to be holding back her anger. I get it, Melissa is the annoying one. I mean, you knew it was Alec as soon as you saw the invitation, right? Did you dress up all fancy because you thought you'd see Alec? Talk about creepy. Thinking there might be a chance? I had become the common enemy of Alec and Chanel. By berating me, Chanel seemed to have felt better and snuggled up to Alec artificially. She's my stalker. Probably got mad knowing I was getting married. Lately, she's been following me around. It's been truly creepy. It was too much not matter how much she likes me. Stalking and then showing up at the wedding thinking there's a chance is just too creepy. They laughed together. A vulgar laughter that didn't suit the beautiful bride and groom. Melissa, I'm sorry. I know it must be hard to see me and Alec so happy, but it's unthinkable for someone to leave in the middle of the ceremony. Please, stay till the end to get over your feelings for Alec. I was ridiculed thoroughly. I couldn't possibly celebrate their union now. Chanel, I really didn't know the groom was Alec. Save your pointless act. It's true. Because he had a different last name back then. Chanel, not understanding, was carefully enlightened by me. He was Alec Brown before. Now, Alec Taylor. Do you understand why? Alec was the first to pounce on me. Not that we were getting along, but Chanel, with a look of anger, pulled us apart. This made it easier to continue. Alec has been married and divorced several times after divorcing me, even taking his wives' last names. Alec yelled, "Shut up," but was immobilized by Chanel, who had thrown her arms around him. Chanel's grip tightened, and Alec began to moan in pain. Alec's history of divorces wasn't just once. It appears he had been married and divorced at least 5 times. Knowing the truth, Chanel's grip tightened around Alec to the point it seemed she might be breaking his spine. Alec couldn't even make a sound. To those unaware of the turmoil, they might appear as a passionately embracing bride and groom. The banquet staff, previously too intimidated to intervene, finally managed to stop Chanel. Chanel's fiery temper had evidently left the staff terrified. But they seemed to realize Alec's life was in danger if they didn't act. After a bit of coughing, Alec turned his fury on me. Melissa! Secretly following me around and digging up unnecessary information. You're beyond what you call a stalker. Although Alec's bloodshot eyes were frightening, I kept my composure. Come on, it's your wedding. Let's keep it calm. I looked towards the lobby and saw that she was prepared. Alec, congratulations on your wedding. I clapped loudly. Perplexed Alec and Chanel watched with a perplexed expression. Then a woman in her wedding dress approached. The shyly smiling woman was far more charming as a bride than Chanel. While I was blessing them with a full smile, Alec stepped back with a pale face. Isabel! The woman who had arrived at the venue in a wedding dress was named Isabel. According to her, she had been dating Alec until a few months ago. They even got engaged. But he broke up with her suddenly without giving a reason, and Isabel couldn't accept it. Upon investigating, she discovered he had another fiancé and was repeatedly getting married. Her unceasing smile in this situation was eerie. Though skeptical of her story at first, the evidence of their relationship and the detailed records of Alec's past she provided made disbelief impossible. I've always been by Alec's side. I know everything about him. So the stalker was you? Alec had actually been a victim of stalking. That's why he mistook me for the stalker. While Chanel and the staff were stunned, Isabel pulled Alec's arm. In place of the frozen staff, I pushed open the heavy doors to the banquet hall. Inside, the guests were tired of the lengthy and dull entertainment. The newly returned bride and groom were greeted with huge applause. "Thank you, everyone, thank you." Isabel led Alec through the venue. Isabel radiated a happiness aura from her entire being. Alec, now utterly soulless, barely managed to stand. A light push on his index finger might topple him. Gradually, the applause thinned, and the room grew so quiet you wouldn't think it held hundreds of guests.
"Who are you?"
Finally, Chanel shouted. Lifting her dress, she stormed towards Isabel. A beautiful bride and an ugly bride faced off. I was the one promised to marry Alec. Chanel pulled on Alec's right arm, while Isabel clung to his left. Lies. It's not a lie. I presented the evidence Isabel had prepared to Chanel. Even after seeing it, Chanel screamed, "It's a lie," and threw the evidence away. A guest picked it up, and a game of telephone started spontaneously. While Isabel and Chanel fought, the whole venue quickly became aware of the situation. Even as the staff and both families tried to intervene, Chanel was too agitated to be stopped. Isabel laughed madly. Of course, the wedding couldn't continue, and the guests were practically kicked out. Alec, notably, had fainted on the floor. An incensed Chanel, not noticing Alec had collapsed, impressively trampled over his face. Isabel vanished after seemingly fulfilling her revenge. Though Chanel had been cheated on by Alec, she received no sympathy from anyone. Her disgrace at the wedding was too much to elicit even pity. Chanel came from a wealthy family, the only daughter. She dropped out of college and couldn't keep a job, so she was introduced to work at my company. Her only computer skill was internet browsing. Ignoring her simple tasks, she would bother us, busy with our work, endlessly bragging and complaining. A perfect example of self-centeredness. The forced attendance at her wedding, and our lack of fondness for her from the start, made sympathy impossible. Even Chanel's parents weren't on her side. Apparently, many guests were business contacts of her parents, who were furious at being embarrassed by her. Honestly, at least her parents could have defended her. But like Chanel, they must prioritize themselves above all. Like Chanel, they must prioritize themselves above all. Ironically, Alec should be thankful for the outcome, given he was supposed to be beaten up by Chanel. Yet for some reason, Alec showed up at my house, accusing me of stalking, when now it seemed he was the stalker.
"It's your fault. You past women ruined the wedding."
Despite everything that happened, Alec is living with Chanel as planned, and yet he's complaining. You're happy you're married to Chanel, aren't you?
No way. She's worthless.
What? But you chose Chanel for her personality, didn't you? Well, yeah. I overlooked her looks and chose her for her wealth. That's a quality, right? Her family is well known around here for being rich. But if her family's money isn't coming in because she's estranged from them, there's no point in being with her. That's what I thought. I wondered if two self-centered people might get along, but normally, they'd clash. Alec was just pretending to be a prince, hiding his true self. He often complained about how boring the countryside was during our marriage, but he mentioned one good thing about it. The culture of respecting men still existed. Indeed, Alec was treated as an honored guest at my family's home, so he got carried away. Moreover, he said rural women are simple. He hasn't grown in over a decade. No matter how much anger I show, he comes begging to me with a completely changed attitude.
"Melissa, do something. She's put GPS on my phone because she suspects me of cheating, and I'm locked up at home when I'm not at work. Actually, she quit her job and has time, so she follows me around and watches me sometimes. It's crazy, right?"
That's crazy.
Right? She's the one who's crazy.
But it can't be helped. Alec, you would cheat right away if she didn't do that, wouldn't you? It's natural for him to be suspected, as he has no credibility. Alec plays the victim, but he is undoubtedly the perpetrator.
That's I can't even take a breather, let alone cheat. I hate this. I want to escape. Melissa, help me.
Alec is nothing but a blemish on my life. Even his attempts to evoke pity is just repulsive. Just as I was getting fed up, a screech like a beast's cry echoed from afar. However, the source of the cry, charging like a gorilla, was Chanel.
What are you doing here? How? You were out and I even left my phone at home.
Chanel pushed the pale-faced Alec aside and whispered a warning to me.
The GPS is also in his wallet and on his keychain, so I'm always watching him. Don't even think about stealing my husband.
I could imagine Alec wanting to cry over such suffocating living conditions. Still, I have no sympathy for a habitual cheater.
I wouldn't steal him. Be happy with Alec.
I answered with a smile. Chanel tried to take Alec back, hugging him, but he stubbornly resisted.
I don't want to go back.
Come on, Melissa. Deep down, you still love me, don't you? His confidence was baffling.
Love you? Impossible. I'm married too, you know.
The front door quietly opened. I had asked Stuart, my current husband, to wait inside, feeling awkward about introducing my ex to him. But he couldn't stay away any longer due to the noise outside.
Eek!
Alec shrieked at the sight of the towering Stuart looking down on him. Trembling as if he'd encountered a man-eating bear, I teased him for fun.
This man is being persistent. Can you do something?
Stuart's eyebrows twitched at my words. Just that was enough for Alec to cling to Chanel and make a quick escape. Alec, frightened by the gentle bear, never showed up in front of me again. Whether it's because of the bear or he's sticking to Chanel in their newlywed life, I don't know. Thus, my peaceful days returned.
I'm not good with confrontations, Melissa. I didn't know what to do to help when you were in trouble. Sorry. It's okay. You're protecting me, just being by my side, Stuart. Even with this look, there comes advantages. I always felt my size and intimidating presence were a flaw, but it turns out, just a glare can protect my family when needed. Not bad at all.
Stuart and I shared a smile. Then Leon, wielding a toy sword, bursted in.
I'll defeat the dinosaur.
Suddenly, it was time for a play fight. Stuart is always casted as a dinosaur.
Ah, I'm defeated. Got you! Mama, I came to save you. I defeated the scary dinosaur.
Stuart effortlessly lifted Leon onto his shoulders.
Brave sir, I won't cause trouble anymore. Please make me your ally. Okay. Let's protect Mama together. Yay!
I have two reliable heroes by my side. The sight of Big Stuart and Little Leon playing together is something I cherish. I want to protect this simple daily happiness.